Committee. The Greenway, as everybody knows, it's been in the news lately, but I'm pleased to report, I got an email just prior to walking over here for our executive session from Nancy Brennan, who's in constant contact, because as some of you, and I should explain that I'm speaking now as a member of the Greenway Leadership Council. I wear two hats. I'm the president of the North End Waterfront Neighborhood Council, but I'm also on the Greenway Leadership Council, so I give a monthly report at each of the NEWNC meetings on the Greenway. But I'm pleased to report that despite Occupy Boston, all parcels on the Greenway are open and everyone's welcome to enjoy the park. I did walk down myself today to make sure that the fence had been taken down from the Fort Point Channel Park, and it is. You've probably read in the papers and seen on the news that on Monday, October 10th, the Boston Police Department, which, by the way, has the public safety responsibility for the Greenway, removed the Occupy Boston participants from parcel 21, and that's the Channel Park South parcel where the urban garden sculptures are, and quite a bit of plantings have been put in that parcel. It's really a beautiful parcel. If you haven't been down there, it's the one that has the pumpkins and the tree of life. It's really quite lovely. And so some of the participants in Occupy Boston had moved their tents over to that parcel, which wasn't the original agreement. The original agreement was for them to stay at Dewey Square. So that's how the police got involved, and for now, all the protesters are back on the Dewey Square parcel. They have committed to keeping their original agreement and staying there and not moving into other parcels of the Greenway. So hopefully that will continue so that there will be no other reason to close off any of the parcels of the Greenway. It was really just to protect the plantings and, you know, the artwork that was there. Certainly not to prohibit anybody from freedom of speech, but there are a lot of expenses that have been put into the Greenway, and we need to protect that. There were also reports in the newspaper of costs that are going to be absorbed by this. Of course, we can't get into what the cost will be for the city of Boston, but it's estimated the cost to rehabilitate the lawn at Dewey Square will be somewhere between $7,000 and $10,000, and that's within the amount that the Greenway puts in their budget for contingencies in maintenance and horticulture. So we have that in our budget, fortunately. But the Boston Public Market on Dewey Square was open as usual. It will continue to be open as usual on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11:30 to 6:30. The participants in Occupy Boston have not disrupted that. As a matter of fact, they've been very respectful of the trucks that are coming in to load and unload the products for the market. So fortunately, that is on schedule. The unfortunate thing is the Mobile Food Fest, which was planned, and Phil had reported it in the paper, North End Regional Review, is not going to go as planned this weekend. That's been canceled because there were going to be like 12 trucks on Dewey Square Plaza, and if you've been down to see the tents, there is absolutely no place to put these trucks now. So unfortunately, that will have to be rescheduled for the spring. But other than that, the Greenway is open, and we hope that you'll all come and enjoy the beautiful parks, and we'll just keep you posted. You'll continue to hear things on the news, and it's one of those very delicate, sensitive situations. Any questions?
John, I'd like
Sure.
to talk
Sure.
about the gala.
I'm talking about the Greenway right now. Any questions on the Greenway?
Let me just ask one. Do we have any updates on the Immigration Memorial Park?
Oh, on the Armenian Heritage Park?
That's what it's called now.
Yeah, the Armenian Heritage Park. Yeah, the Armenian Heritage Park will be open sometime in spring. They've done a tremendous amount of work so far with the piping, and it's on schedule, and so we'll see something happening sometime in spring. Jonathan?
So, I mean, in the area, the Greenway is a beautiful place, you know?
It is. We want to keep it that way.
Yeah, I mean, and our First Amendment is also a beautiful thing, you know?
Yes,
So it's
yes
like,
it is.
if you're keeping people to one area and not allowing them to expand, you're kind of restricting the movement itself from growing, right? I mean, I just don't understand how the fact that it's an expensive space is what is keeping the route from expanding onto that space. You know what I
Well,
mean?
first of all, it's a little bit more complicated. It's not quite as simple. We just had a joint Greenway Leadership Council Conservancy Board meeting. The folks that are there for Occupy Boston do not even have a permit. Permits are issued by the city of Boston, but they have not even been issued a permit to be on the Greenway. So it's one of those very sensitive, delicate situations, although the Greenway feels very much in protecting people's freedom of speech. We also have to make sure that the Greenway is open to the public, too. And if tents are going all the way down the Greenway, obviously that's an issue because it's really hard to maneuver around Dewey Square right now. The original agreement was for them to be able to be in the Dewey Square Park because it makes a little bit more sense for them to be there because you've got that cement area where they can set up their tents, and the agreement was that they could be there. But you can understand that if tents are going all the way down the Greenway, then as we were having just recently over the weekend, then you're going to stop the flow of people down there. And also you have to protect the sculptures and the gardens and the things that are there. Where they are right now, you're trying to be respectful of the plantings that are there, but the tents themselves are on the grass area and the cement area, so they're not getting into the plant beds. So it's a delicate situation, and that's why, it's really the mayor's call in the city of Boston, and that's why the mayor and the police are watching this very carefully. It's really not the Greenway's call in terms of what's allowed or not allowed in this case on the Greenway. That was a permitting thing that should have been permitted if it were to be permitted by the city of Boston.
I would follow up on Jonathan's point by saying that I think the Greenway got a black eye as with the coverage of a lot of the violent suppression of a lot of elderly folks who were badly treated, bruised, thrown to the ground and so on. I think a lot of people that I talked to thought that the Greenway had dropped the dime, and it may have, but the fact is I think it makes the Greenway, which we treasure, I think, as an institution in our neighborhood, it makes the Greenway as an entity, as a board, look like participants, and sort of thuggish participants in suppressing this grassroots movement. I don't think it made the Greenway look good, and I did hear Nancy Brennan's name brought up as someone who should be ashamed of having participated in sort of the violent suppression that happened the other night. So I give that to you to bring back to Nancy, and that came up in my workplace, for example.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously the press loves to bring out oftentimes the more sensational aspects of it. From what I understand, most of the people who have been participating have said that they have been very pleased with the way they've been received on the Greenway and also by the way they've been treated by the police. I can't speak for the few. There were some that were arrested. Some of those arrests took place down at the Charlestown Bridge and not on the Greenway. There were very few that actually went over to the parcel 21. And most of them then moved back to where a lot of the other issue happened was down, they tried to occupy the bridge. So that had nothing to do with the Greenway. But a lot of people have said that they've been treated very nicely by both the Greenway staff and by the police. So when I was down there today, they seemed to be happy campers. So you're going to have a few that aren't going to have. There were a few people saying that they're literally campers, yeah, play on words. But they're, as I say, it's a very delicate situation. I think everybody's trying to work together on it, but there's no easy solution to it. Any other questions?